The place you fear to enter holds the strength you pretend you don't need. Epictetus. Strength is found where you don't want to look. They told you strength was power. That it was found in titles, muscles, noise. That the strong man is the loudest, the richest, the one who wins. But they lied. Strength is not found where the lights are. It's not in applause. It's not in validation. It's not in the gaze of others. It is buried, in the place you've been running from. It lives in your pain. It waits in your fear. It hides behind every door you swore you'd never open again. Because real strength does not grow where it's comfortable. It grows where you don't want to go. And that's why most men never find it. They chase comfort like it's a reward. They drown themselves in distractions, noise, pleasure. And every time life whispers, "Come face the wound," they turn away. But you must not. Because the thing you've been avoiding, that's the thing you were made to confront. The betrayal you buried. The failure you pretend never happened. The guilt, the shame, the regret you silence with noise. It's still there. And it will not leave until you face it. Not to fix it, but to stand with it. You think strength is control. But sometimes strength is surrender. To feel the wound. To sit in the silence. To let it break you, without letting it define you. The man who does not descend into his darkness never learns who he really is. Because truth isn't found in what you say when you're winning. Truth is found in what survives when everything else is taken. When the money's gone. When the people leave. When the world stops clapping. What remains? That's who you are. And that is where strength is born. Not in your victories, but in your defeats. Not in your pride, but in your pain. Because the wound is not your enemy. The wound is your teacher. Seneca wrote, "Fire tests gold, misfortune tests the man." So if your life has been easy, don't celebrate. Because ease creates softness. And softness rots character. Do you want to know why you're weak? Because you've been hiding from your own life. You silence your pain with pleasure. You numb your thoughts with noise. You scroll, you binge, you joke. But you do not listen. Not to the voice inside you. Not to the truth in your chest. Because you're afraid of what it will say. But you must listen now. Even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts. Because the place that holds your fear is the same place that holds your power. The man who goes where he doesn't want to go. That man becomes something the world cannot touch. And the path is simple. Go back to the failure. Sit in the pain. Stand in the room where it all fell apart. And do not flinch. Most men want a shortcut. But strength has no shortcut. It is earned through confrontation. Face what broke you. Not to fix the past, but to stop it from owning your future. You are not weak because you failed. You are weak because you buried the failure and called it healing. You are weak because you lied to yourself and called it moving on. You are weak because you are still afraid to look. And that's the moment it changes. Not when the world changes. Not when people treat you better. Not when your bank account grows. No. It changes when you finally say, "I am not afraid of what lives inside me." And then you go in. Without armor. Without ego. Without excuses. Because the darkness does not kill you. Your refusal to enter it does. Stop trying to escape your shadow. Walk into it. Become familiar with it. Sit with your fears like they're old friends. Because the man who can sit in silence with his demons is more dangerous than the man who knows how to fight. The storm outside will pass. But the storm inside will follow you until you face it. And when you finally look at it, not with judgment, not with fear, but with stillness, you will understand. You were never meant to destroy it. You were meant to master it. You cannot be whole without your brokenness. You cannot be wise without your wounds. You cannot be strong without standing in the places that once shattered you. So go back. Not to relive, but to reclaim. Because the man who hides from his past is a slave to it. But the man who walks straight into it becomes something else entirely. A man of weight. A man of silence. A man of depth. The world does not need more smiles. It needs more men who are no longer afraid to feel. Men who have burned away every illusion. Men who have learned how to suffer. And still remain still. They told you to move on. To forget. To smile again. To forgive those who broke you before you were ready. But you didn't need their comfort. You needed silence. You needed the kind of darkness that makes you look inward. And doesn't let you look away. Because real healing doesn't feel like healing. It feels like death. The death of who you thought you were. The death of every lie you used to survive. Strength is not born from comfort. It's born the moment you finally stop escaping. The moment you sit still and stripped. With everything you never wanted to feel. And instead of resisting, you listen. Because the wound does not scream. It waits. And only the disciplined will ever hear its voice. Most people will never go there. They will fight wars, build empires, chase applause. But never once enter the cave where their soul waits. They are terrified of their own reflection. Terrified of stillness. Terrified of what they buried so long ago. They forgot it was part of them. But not you. Because if you have made it this far, you already know. Your greatest battle is not with the world. It's with the parts of you that remain unlived. The parts you call weakness are the parts that must be claimed. Not destroyed. Claimed. Integrated. Respected. Only the fool thinks strength is about cutting things off. The wise man learns to carry it all. And still walk upright. Do not flinch when the old pain returns. Let it rise. Let it speak. Let it burn. Because that fire isn't here to destroy you. It's here to reveal what's left. There's a version of you waiting. On the other side of your fear. But he does not come cheap. He waits behind every excuse. Every shallow distraction. Every temptation to numb out. And if you want him, you must suffer. Not the suffering of chaos. But the suffering of discipline. The suffering of silence. Of saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Of standing firm when everything inside you wants to run. This is not cruelty. This is the price of clarity. You must learn to sit in pain. Not as punishment, but as purification. To embrace the storm. Not as a curse, but as initiation. Because the man who walks through his own fire doesn't fear the flames of the world. They call it suffering. You call it forging. They call it isolation. You call it sanctuary? They call it cold. You call it clear. Because when everyone else is looking outward, you are looking in. And while they chase approval, you build presence. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You were never supposed to control the world. You were supposed to command yourself. And if the world falls, so be it. If they lie, let them. If they betray you, endure it. You are not here to be safe. You are here to be solid. You are here to become the kind of man who cannot be moved by the weak hands of fate. So do not fear what you feel. Do not run from the places that hurt. Because that's where your edge is. That's where your fire sleeps. And every time you avoid that place, you grow dull. You forget what you're made of. But every time you go back, you sharpen. You burn. You become something harder than stone. And more dangerous than fire. A man who has nothing left to prove. Because he has already faced himself. They will try to pull you back. With smiles. With flattery. With the illusion of ease. But you've seen behind the curtain. You've touched the wound. And now you cannot unsee. They will say, "You've changed." Let them. That is the highest compliment. Because if the man who touched darkness still fits in the world, he didn't go deep enough. You are not meant to fit. You are meant to forge. Not to please, but to endure. Not to be accepted, but to become. The man who looks into his own abyss and does not blink. is no longer a man. He is something else. Something unshakable. Something the world cannot bend, because he's already broken himself. And came back whole. This is what they will never understand. Your silence is not emptiness. It is control. Your stillness is not fear. It is awareness. Your solitude is not loneliness. It is preparation. You are not alone. You are becoming. So do not run from the mirror. Stand in front of it. Naked. Scarred. Unapologetic. Look into your own eyes. Until you stop flinching. Look at the boy you were. And the man you must become. And then walk forward. Not to fix the world. Not to be admired. But because that is the path. And you are done with running. Let the others stay in the shallows. You were made for deep waters. Let them chase noise. You were forged in silence. Let them seek safety. You were built for storms. Because now you know. Strength is not found where it's easy to go. It is found in the places you swore you'd never return to. The rooms that haunted you. The silence that used to drown you. The memories that once broke you. They are not your chains anymore. They are your edge. Your fire. Your reason. Your proof. And so when they ask, "Where did you find your strength?" say nothing. Just stand. Because the man who has returned from the depths does not need to explain. His presence is the answer. His silence is the roar. And his life is the weapon.